If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to the Rom-Com Rewind Podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Devin.
And like you, I love rewatching movies over and over again.
You made it here. You love romantic comedies. We do as well.
So this is a show where we rewatch rom-coms, break them down a bit for you, maybe take a peek behind the curtain, dig beneath the surface, and decide, does it still hold up?
Today, the much requested
Sweet Home Alabama.
And wherever you're listening, make sure you throw us a follow, subscribe. If you ever want to, become more of a friend of the pod, join the RCR fam, you can do that on our Instagram account at Romcom Rewind. We also have TikTok. You can literally ask us any question on there, and Sarah will respond to 100% of those questions. And we also just love to hear from you and learn a little bit more about you. Sweet Home Alabama, directed by Andy Tennant. You know Andy Tennant directed It Takes Two, Fool's Gold, Hitch, The Bounty Hunter. This is the story of Melanie Carmichael, or Melanie Smooter?
Smooter.
Played by Reese Witherspoon. We first meet Melanie as a 10-year-old with her first ever love, Jake Perry, played by Josh Lucas. We meet them in the fictional town of Pigeon Creek, Alabama. And then after a quick, meeting scene, we jump forward in time to present day, where Melanie is now a famous fashion designer. She's dating New York political socialite, is what I'll call him, Andrew, played by Patrick Dempsey. Because Andrew's mother, Kate, is actually the mayor of New York City, and she's grooming Andrew to be a politician, much to his chagrin kind of thing. She's played by Candice Bergen. After Andrew proposes to Melanie, though, we learn that she's not gone back to her hometown in Alabama in 7 years, and now that she is engaged, she needs to make her way back to Pigeon Creek to, let's say, tie up some loose ends, specifically one important one pertaining to her one true love, Jake Perry, which we'll talk about later. What are your thoughts on Sweet Home Alabama?
Melanie Carmichael has it all.
7 years ago, you were this scared little thing from Alabama, and now you're my steel magnolia.
She's the hottest designer in the fashion world. She's dating the son of New York's mayor, and she's about to get...
Where are we?
The proposal of her dreams. But before she can tie the knot...
I'm in Alabama.
She needs to tie up one loose end.
Get your stubborn self down here and give me a divorce.
As I live and struggle for breath.
This was a fun Reese Witherspoon movie. I liked this one a lot. I think I've seen this one, but I'm not 100% sure. If I did, it was when it first came out, so I can't say that I actually remembered it, which was fantastic because it was like all new to me again. It's fun. It's really cute. It's wholesome. I loved it. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought Reese Witherspoon's character was very well played, very well done. I actually really enjoyed her in this movie. Josh Lucas was great, hot. What more could you want from him? And I loved it. It was great.
This is an interesting one. I agree with everything you said. It's fun. It's a really good movie. A lot of you, the RCR fam, have reached out to talk about this film, how this is one of your all-time favorites, and it puts a little bit of pressure on. And I'll be honest, I don't want to deter anybody, but I thought this was a really good movie. Here's how I felt about it. It didn't blow my socks off, but at the same time, yeah, I know.
I'm surprised.
Listen, it was very pleasing to watch. I was engaged the whole time. I was enjoying myself. There was no weep warning. I didn't cry.
Oh, I did.
Really? When did you weep? No.
Okay.
That'll be a tease. We'll talk about it.
All right.
What I'm saying is that there's nothing bad about this movie. If you're like, what's one thing you would change? Honestly, nothing. It was really, really good. Honestly, this is, I think anybody could pick up this film, watch it. And especially, you know what? It's funny. When I go back and look at other Reese Witherspoon movies, obviously Legally Blonde is way up at the top. But
sure.
Is this better than Just Like Heaven? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is it better than Four Christmases? Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It is This Means War. Reese Witherspoon. Yeah,
Yes.
this is better than
This
that.
is.
It's still It's one of those films that, like, sitting back and watching it, I enjoyed the whole thing. But then when you go through and look at other films, you're like, yeah, you know what? This is actually, like, better than a lot of other stuff. And it's kind of sneaky. It kind of flew in under the radar. It was just a fun, good watch.
I think this movie has no lulls to it.
No, it doesn't.
I was, like you mentioned, thoroughly entertained the entire time. And that's a good movie. I never questioned, oh my gosh, this movie is so long, or, oh, it could have done without, 10 or 20 minutes. No, this was a wonderful movie.
Nothing wrong with this.
I'm so surprised. You're just like, meh about it.
Whoa,
Are you
whoa,
more
whoa.
than meh?
Don't put words into my mouth. I've very much enjoyed it. But, like, this is on some people's lists of, like, top 3 movies of all time.
Well, I think it's up there for me, too. Like,
Okay.
I quite enjoyed it. Not top 3, but I liked it.
Okay, let's dive right in.
All right. So the movie starts with 2 little kids running down a beach, and the boy asks the little girl to marry him, and she says no. Then the lightning strikes, and they go to see what the lightning strike has left behind in the sand. And he says, "Don't worry, we'll be safe here because the lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place." And she asks him, "Why do you want to marry me?" And he says, "So he can kiss her anytime he wants." So cute.
I just realized that is foreshadowing the entire plot of the film.
Absolutely it is. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll get to that.
I'm glad you figured that out.
I just forgot. It happened in the first 2 minutes. I kind of forgot about it by the end.
They share a kiss and lightning strikes right where they are again. So much for being safe, which I feel would definitely kill them. But,
Yeah, they kind of glossed over it. Like, I thought there would at least be superpowers. In fact, well, like
Sweet Home Alabama, the superhero movie.
I was thinking like Age of Adeline, like maybe something happens to her.
God.
Well, because the next scene we see Melanie waking up in a lightning storm in New York City this time, and I thought maybe she had just like transported herself right to that moment, or like maybe
it was like a freaky, not a Freaky Friday, but like they like fast forward into like what would have been.
Okay. Stop acting like I'm crazy. She was in a movie called Just Like Heaven where she died.
I know.
Or she was in a coma.
I'm not making fun of you.
Okay,
I'm saying
I'm
that
just saying.
actually could have been the plot.
Yes.
It could have like transported them 20 years or 30 years in advance to see what life would have been if she would have made the choice to New York or in Alabama.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about, Sarah.
I just read your mind.
Well, I feel like you came off the top and looked that stupid superhero.
No.
Come on.
Well, the superhero thing, yeah. Like, they're not saving the world.
Reese Witherspoon could be a freaking
They're just
superhero,
ageless.
Okay?
Anyway, turns out she's sleeping and wakes from a dream at work. And she is a designer, a clothing designer, a fashion designer. But we're going to find out that when she gets home, there are rose petals all around the apartment and she has a boyfriend.
Named Patrick Dempsey.
I was like, named Andrew. Played by Patrick Dempsey.
Who, by the way, was not yet Dr. Shepard in Grey's Anatomy. I find anything with Patrick Dempsey is like via the timeline of, well, when was it in relation to Grey's Anatomy? Grey's Anatomy began in 2005. Yeah. This film came out in 2002. So we did not yet know Dr. Shepard yet. Also, by the way, if you ever want to Wikipedia Patrick Dempsey, it's the most frustrating thing to get any info because I don't know if you're aware, Sarah, he's also a pro race car driver.
What?
Patrick Dempsey.
Not like our Patrick Dempsey.
What do you mean our Patrick? We don't own Patrick Dempsey, but there's only one Patrick. The guy in this movie also races cars.
What?
He's raced the 24 hours in Le Mans 4 times.
That's wild. He's a race car driver?
Yeah, I mean, part of it was him owning his own company with another company. So, he funds the company that he also drives the car in.
I mean, I feel like that would be a really good 2 truths and a lie because, like, I'm a super successful actor. I'm a race car driver. And what's your third one? Because that would have to be a lie. No one's going to believe that your third thing is a lie.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's really true.
Either a race car driver or a successful actor's got to be a lie. Like, come on. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so it's the day of her show. Her show goes super well. And her boyfriend after calls her and tells her that they have a gala to go to tonight with his mother. who we find out is the mayor of New York. So she gets all dressed up, and when she gets to the place where the driver has taken her, the driver takes her into the building, pretending that Andrew's meeting ran late, and instead he is there waiting for her to take her into a dark room, and it is a Tiffany's jewelry store, and she is to pick out her engagement ring. He asks her to marry her, and she, of course, says yes.
Question: as a person who has been engaged to, how would you like that engagement? Like, I feel like it was kind of awkward where like we're in this, there's like 10 employees watching the engagement, and then once you say yes, it's like, okay, and now pick a ring, and they all just grab a shit ton of rings.
I think it's
like,
pretty cool that she gets to pick her engagement ring. That is a Tiffany's engagement ring. Like, that's hella cool.
See, I like the idea of picking the, but isn't it awkward? Like, you're getting proposed to, and there's just a bunch of employees being like, oh,
like, I mean, I think it's like on the intimate level of like just the two of you. I think that's like, it's like on the lower scale, but like of getting someplace to get engaged. But I think the fact that you can go shopping with your significant other for the engagement ring, like clearly price was no issue.
God.
Clearly price was no issue.
I'm asking Sarah this like.
I mean, I love
question,
my engagement ring, so that's fine.
She's just like, I just like the choice. I'm glad that I would be able to choose the ring.
No. The choice is that it's a Tiffany's engagement ring. Those are real expensive. Like, I'm just saying, like, clearly price was no option. Or, yeah, like crazy. We do find out that Melanie hasn't been to see her parents in 7 years, and Andrew has yet to meet them. She doesn't want to call them just yet about the engagement, so asks Andrew if they can kind of keep it on the down low for now.
Does not go well.
No, because when they get to this gala that Andrew's mother's hosting, Melanie and the mother start talking, and in front of everyone, she's holding her hand and feels the engagement ring and announces it very loudly that there is a big engagement ring on her finger.
Melanie forgot to take the ring off after agreeing we're going to keep this quiet. So
correct. So after the gala and everything is said and done, we see Melanie heading home to Alabama to see her folks. She pulls up to a house that is charming, and
we see a prop float plane in the water, and we see a beat up old pickup truck out front, and we see
a dog.
A dog and a man come outside when the dog starts barking. Could that be Jake, played by Josh Lucas?
And she asks him, can you come down here and sign the divorce papers? She's already married to this guy, Jake, but he won't sign the papers and doesn't want to sign those papers.
Jake! You dumb, stubborn redneck hick! The only reason you won't sign these papers is because I want you to.
Wrong! The only reason I ain't signing is because you've turned into some hoity-toity Yankee bitch, and I'd like nothing better right now than to piss you off.
So on the other side, back in New York, the mayor has her people digging into Melanie, but they can't find anything on a Melanie Carmichael. So back in Alabama, Jake called the sheriff, who turns out to be their very good old friend, and Melanie convinces the sheriff that there's nothing wrong, more of just an argument between a married couple. And then Jake throws an old warrant in for, I don't know, some tractor in the water, and Melanie is booked, and so she has to call her parents to come and get her. And this still, her parents don't know that she's actually home. She was hoping to just get Jake to sign the papers, and she could fly back to New York City and no one be the wiser. At home, she's not really tight with her parents. She holds a grudge because her parents don't come to visit her in New York. And of course, we know that she hasn't been home in 7 years. And it seems like her mom is not happy with her being in New York, but at the same time is. She's happy she left Alabama and kind of is making her own. But she's not happy about her having been married to Jake and that still being a mess. So Melanie takes out the ring and says she's happy and she found somebody who makes her happy in New York. We also meet Bobby Ray, who's one of their old friends, and she runs into him on the street on her way to the bank because she has to go to the bank, and she sees somebody at the bank who she used to know when they were younger, and she says, "Oh, I hear you and Jake are still married. Would you like to take money out of your joint account with him since, you're still married?" And she goes, "Oh, absolutely.
Give me all that money."
Thinking this is how I'm going to get Jake to sign those papers. So he gets home from work and she's ordered a new fridge, oven, couches, basically everything new. He realizes that she took his money and that she took out all of it from the bank. She says, "You know what? I'll give it all back if you sign the papers." And at first he says, "Okay, fine." And then says something about her boyfriend, he says something about her boyfriend, which she's surprised that he knows that she has a boyfriend back in New York. And then he decides last minute he's not going to sign the papers. So Melanie heads to the local bar and visits Jake's mom. I think Jake's mom must own it. And to bug Jake, because he's also there on a hot date with a girl named Star. She tries to continue to convince him to divorce her and sign the papers. But they all end up playing poker. It ends up being Mel versus Jake. And she ends up telling everyone's secrets. She kind of gets too drunk and divulges all of each other's secrets to everybody. And, outs Bobby Ray that he's gay and that Jake got Mel pregnant when they were younger. And then Jake ends up dragging Mel out and driving her home, but still didn't sign the papers.
And at this point in the film, it's funny. Reese Witherspoon, she does a great job acting. She is from
New Orleans.
She's from New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
She puts on this accent very quickly. And I think very well, as somebody who doesn't know a Southern accent very well,
Yeah.
I hear her in these scenes, especially when she's had a couple beverages in her, and I'm like, hey, she's doing it. Everybody in this film in Alabama, there are different points where they'll like throw very odd and specific Southern sayings out there that for people who are unfamiliar, it's just like, what in the world? What did he say? What is that? I have for you, Sarah,
Ooh.
best, weirdest, oddly specific Southern sayings.
Okay.
So all of these sayings are pertaining to the same thing, all popular in the South. She has a duck. She has a dying duck fit.
Okay, I'm thinking that it's somebody who ready to explode. Pressure has happened and she's had it. She's going to explode.
You're close. Okay.
Okay.
These are also the same thing. She's pitching a hissy fit with a tail on it.
Oh, it's like pin the tail on the donkey.
No.
Okay.
No.
No, but I mean it's with a tail. So she's having a total meltdown.
Yes.
Okay.
They're angry. This
You're
person's
right,
angry.
yeah.
You can also say he's got a burr in his saddle. His knickers are in a knot.
Oh, I've heard knickers in the knot.
So I guess
knickers in a knot.
Yeah. That one's common. I guess in the South, it's you don't have a hissy fit. You pitch a hissy fit.
Okay.
That's
pitch
that's
a
the
hissy
thing.
fit. I like that. That's funny.
Okay. So these also all mean the same thing.
Okay.
He's slicker. He's slicker than owl shit.
Oh my God. Okay. He's smooth.
Okay. You're on the right track. You're lower than a snake's belly in a wagon rut.
You're lower than a what? Say that again?
Lower than a snake's belly in a wagon rut.
Lower than a snake's belly in a wagon rut. So you're having a hard time.
She's meaner than a wet panther.
Something about being really smooth.
So it's all just regarding somebody who is of bad character.
No,
it's all
way.
just you're not
Okay,
like he's a
interesting.
snake in the grass. I feel like
Right.
that's something that's a little bit more worthless as gum on a boot heel. That's another one.
Oh, that's a good one. I feel like if you said that one, I would have yeah.
Oh, okay. So these also all pertain to the same thing. So why don't you try to guess what a saying would be when a Southerner's busy, when you're doing a lot of stuff?
Busy as a bee?
That's a very common, worldly.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It needs to be, I don't.
See, a Southerner would say, she's busier than a cat covering crap on a marble floor. How does that happen? There's a lot of elements to that,
Yeah, I
too.
was just going to say, so not as simple as a busy as a bee. It's busy as a bee chasing a cat, chasing a blah, blah, blah on a slippery marble floor.
Or how about this? I'm as busy as a one-legged cat in a sandbox.
Oh, because it's so hard to get out of the sand.
Oh, wait. Yeah,
it takes
I
a lot of
guess.
time.
Wow, that's darker than I thought. Oh, man. Busier than a moth in a mitten. That's kind of funny, actually.
Busier than a moth in a mitten because it's trying to get out. Oh, no, because it's trying to eat it. Maybe?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. We need a dedicated Southerner to help us explain these.
Yeah.
So how would you describe being cheap? They have lots of elements to them, is the thing that really cracks me
Can't
up.
find a nickel in the bottom of a couch?
Oh, how about, you know what?
I think
There
that
is
was
one
pretty
about
good.
money, Sarah. He squeezes a quarter so tight the eagle screams. Because I get it's what's on the money, right? Or he's so cheap he wouldn't give a nickel to see Jesus riding a bicycle.
Wow.
Like so specific.
So specific.
It's so specific.
It's almost like they should just include the time of day this occurs too.
Seriously.
You know?
Like, I want to know, do people actually say these? We
I
have
don't know.
no concept.
I think they probably should, because these are great.
He's tighter than a bull's ass at fly time. That's fun. Oh, this is good. What would you say if you're dressed too scantily? Like, what would somebody say about a girl who's dressed
Oh,
too
God,
scantily
I don't
in
even
the
want to
South?
guess. I don't even know.
Those pants were so tight, I could see her religion.
Oh, my God, that's awful. See, I'm glad I didn't guess.
Her pants are so tight that if she farts, it'll blow her boots off.
Because there's nowhere for it to go.
Oh, my God.
Shit.
And the last one I'm going to say, just because I find this one so funny, if you're confused in the South, apparently they might say, he doesn't know whether to check his ass or scratch his watch.
Oh, that's funny. I like that one.
That one is good. Yeah, that one.
I actually really like that one.
I just looked these up, so maybe if you're from the South, you can corroborate if these are common sayings, or at least a few of them. I don't know if it's geographical, depending on where you are.
I love it.
Yeah.
So when Melanie wakes up the next morning, Jake has in fact finally signed the papers. He's given up and said, fine, I'm going to sign them, just leave town. So it turns out that Jake is selling his house and leaving Greenville. He kind of hints to Melanie that, oh, you know what, I'm going to keep all this stuff. Don't worry about giving me the money back.
I like what you did, though. To the house. Should help it sell quicker.
Are you moving?
Well, I've been spending a lot of my time up around Tuscaloosa, so...
So she's a little bit perplexed. He's also getting ready to take the plane out and asks if she wants to come with him, but she declines and instead goes to mail the papers that he signed and then goes to apologize to Bobby Ray. Just as she leaves, a reporter, it's somebody who works for the mayor, and we know that, comes to do a piece on her, and she freaks out and plays it off that the house that she's currently in, called the Carmichael House, is her actual family home, and gets Bobby Ray to lie for her and be her cousin. She then heads to the Catfish Festival that the city's throwing, or the town is throwing, and she apologizes to all her friends, and the one friend that has all of the children tells Mel that Jake actually went up to New York City a year after she left. So 6 years ago, he had gone up. And she tells Mel that Jake realizes he needed more than an apology to win her back. He needed to make something and conquer the world first. He needed to make something of himself and conquer the world first. And he's been trying ever since. Mel realizes that that's why he was always sending the papers back, because he was trying to be enough for her and to try to win her back. So at the festival, Mel wants to talk to Jake, but he blows her off. And instead, he sees her later on at the Coon Dog Cemetery, and Jake meets her there. And they talk quickly about how things are so complicated and how she loves New York, but she also loves Alabama. And she's split between the two. They talk about her pregnancy, and she realizes that after what happened between the two of them, she needed a different life. And he does tell her that he's proud of her. And then they kiss. And then they kind of break apart, and he says, you know what, you just need to go home. And so she says, okay, she decides I'm going to go home to New York. As she's leaving, her mom is telling her that she needs to stay away, and Jake is quicksand, and that she doesn't want Mel to end up like her, and says, you know, this guy who you're marrying in New York can give you a life that you would never get here. Before she leaves, she wants to go and say goodbye to her dad. And so he's at the battlefield because it's tourist season, and they do reenactments of the of battles, and between the North and the South. And the battlefield scene is hilarious. This scene was almost my best scene, because I thought it was hilarious when she goes and she's yelling, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," and this one man who is already supposed to be dead pops up and says, "Who are you looking for?" And she says, "Oh, I'm looking for my dad, blah blah blah." And he gets all of them to rise back from the dead and asks, "Oh, where's so-and-so?" And they point her in the right direction. I just thought it was so funny. Oh my God, I loved it. So Mel's fiance, Andrew, shows up in Alabama, and Jake is also at the Carmichael house, and which is where Bobby Ray is. they play it off as her cousins. So Bobby Ray and Jake play it off as Mel's cousins, and Jake takes him to the battlefield to see Mel. This is my best scene. On the way to the battlefield, Jake tells Andrew a story about how Mel blew up a bank at the age of 10 with a cat that had dynamite strapped to its back. This was my best scene. This entire story of how this 10-year-old little girl couldn't see a cat being put down at the vet, so she strapped dynamite to it instead from a construction site, sent it into it so that it would die a more humane way, but then it escaped and went into a bank and blew up the bank.
Way more humane to blow a cat up.
What? And the funny thing is, the cat didn't even get blown up. It's still alive.
It's got a little bit of like an old wives' tale mystique to it, because
Totally.
the cat was like going to pass away anyway. I think it had cancer, right?
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
was so it's now kind of like people say they still see that cat around to this day, you know? And then we do see the cat at the end of the movie.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Maybe it's all
Maybe it's
made
just the
up.
ghost of the
Who
cat. I
knows?
don't know.
Who knows? So they get to the battlefield, and Mel comes clean to Andrew about how Jake is actually her husband. And Andrew leaves, but when her dad gets home at the end of the day, he brings Andrew in with him. Andrew tells her that if there's still room in her future for him, he'd like to marry her. And she asks if the wedding can be in Alabama, and he agrees.
And before we keep going, so you mentioned Melanie's dad, huge throughout the film into Civil War reenactments. In fact, there are so many people in this film who, you know, have some kind of, you know, they're either wearing the outfit or they're part of the thing, or when she was at Bobby Ray's house, they're blowing up anvils, and that was like a part of their part of the war or whatever. I have for you, Sarah, some of the strangest these actually happen in real life, unexpected historic reenactment groups.
Oh my goodness.
Like groups throughout the world who put on similar things to this.
Okay.
Like, for example, the Screaming Eagles of Hungary. So there's a group of, I guess, expats living in Budapest in Hungary, and they do reenactments for an American parachute infantry division from World War II. And they do like...
Oh my God.
They do like parachuting, I guess, in
Seriously?
Budapest. Oh, that's not even nearly weird enough, Sarah. The Roman Empire has reenactments that happen in Italy, obviously, but also France, Great Britain, and Germany, as well as smaller contingents in Mexico, Canada, and Brazil, where they just, I guess they have like Roman battles.
Oh my God, my eyes are so big right now. I can't even believe it. Are you kidding me? They reenacted the Roman Empire? That was so long ago.
Oh, Sarah, it gets better. This title says the Civil War goes European.
Oh no. No.
There's a group in Italy, and I guess there are a bunch of Americans who live there, who play the Confederate 14th Louisiana Infantry, and there are a bunch of people who they get to be like Britain, and they do Civil War reenactments in Italy,
oh
guys.
My God. No. You're kidding me.
It gets weirder.
Oh.
How about Vikings in South America?
I don't know. Did they ever make it down that far?
No,
okay.
they did not. But in Argentina, there is a group who does Viking reenactments.
Just in case you couldn't make it up there, you know, to see them.
And the all-time strangest one is this is hard to explain, but it's so remember back in the early 90s there was Yugoslavia, and there was the breakup of that in 91 with Serbs, Croatians, you know, all kinds of stuff. There are reenactments for that, even including UN peacekeepers and stage mock battles that occurs in Japan.
Oh.
Yeah. I guess there are a bunch of Japanese people who think Yugoslavia was really cool, and like let's do reenactments of it. Right. So seeing all these guys super obsessed with Civil War reenactments, not that crazy, guys. It's crazy to do it in Italy. That would be crazy.
You know what they used to? So I mean, we have several Gilmore Girls fans who listen to this podcast, and there were Civil War reenactments in the TV show Gilmore Girls.
Really?
Yes. There was like a small battle that happened, like, and I mean very small. I don't think actually anything occurred. So they just stand out there, and it usually snows during that time of year as well. So they always get brought hot chocolate or like hot drinks, and like none of them want it because they didn't have that. You know, they don't. They're trying.
Don't give me the hot chocolate.
Reenacting like they don't need the hot chocolate.
This is real world shit.
Yeah. So like it's actually really funny. They make quite a few like quips about it. It's
where
like
is the town of Gilmore? Isn't where is it set?
I feel like it's set like
Something Google can tell us.
It's set in Stars Hollow, Connecticut.
Oh, Connecticut.
Yes,
That's very far
Connecticut,
north.
yes.
What? Nothing. Okay, I don't.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really know. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, it's a very small battle, but I don't think it's actually a battle. Like, they just stood there, kind of thing. You know, that's the way they've placed it in the TV show.
I love it. Mm-hmm. That's too funny.
Yeah.
So we're now at the point where the wedding's going ahead in Alabama with Andrew. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so Melanie is back in New York, and she keeps trying to call Jake, but he won't answer. He really wants to talk to her. We don't really get to know like what she wants to talk to him about. Maybe she just wants to apologize. I'm not really sure. Jake wants none of it, though. He's signed the papers. He wants to move on. Everything's a hustle bustle for the wedding, and when she returns to Alabama, she comes with two of her best friends, and they see a glass blowing place, and it's a sign in the airport, and they head there. It turns out that this is what Jake has been working on for the 7 years. He owns this whole glass blowing business, multi aspects to it too. Like there's like a patio with a restaurant, and there's tours, and it's all glass blown and shaped from lightning strikes on the beach, which I think is really cute and kind of reminiscent of when they were really little and fell in love. He just loves this girl so much.
Wait, was this your weep warning right here?
You know what? It's like this part and like throughout it. I think there was two weep warnings, and I meant to write them down, but I forgot. So
do you
just
think you wept right here?
No.
Oh, okay, you did.
I don't think so. But it was really sweet. Okay.
Do you find this film at times is a little bit reminiscent of The Notebook?
Yes, but I was also thinking maybe some hope floats too.
Okay, or I thought about The Great Gatsby. Because Daisy and Jay Gatsby, they kind of go off on their own, and then he realizes she is so much higher than him in terms of influence and all that he makes it his goal in life to gain all this wealth. But in it feels a little bit closer to The Notebook. Because he felt unworthy, so he's like, I'm going to build this whole business just like Noah builds that house the way that they had talked about back in the day, you know?
Yeah.
Just saying. It felt a little bit like a few pieces of things, but it also felt unique to this film, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think he definitely needed to make something of himself. But it's funny, throughout the movie, you kind of get people almost saying it, but then everybody like gets nudged or like cut off, so they can't actually say what Jake's been doing the last 7 years. And Mel is, and she says it herself, she's selfish. She's being selfish and has been for the last few years. She doesn't even ask Jake what he's been up to. Like, he hasn't like remotely even, she's never brought it up to him. Hey, what have you been doing the last 7 years? She doesn't care. So some man comes into a diner looking for Mel, but none of the locals help find her. His name is Wallace Buford. And as people are arriving for the wedding, he tries to get into the wedding, but is sent away. When Mel is getting ready with her mom on her wedding day, it's the wedding day, her mom tells her she's doing the right thing, that he can give her a life that she never dreamed of, but Mel isn't convinced that she's making the right decision.
And to be honest, I didn't like this kind of verbiage from the mom because it's very like, oh, like, what can a man do for you? Like, he's going to give you She's already a famous fashion designer. She's making her own life. She doesn't need Andrew to make her life more. And I think that's kind of the misconception that's happening with, like, the mom maybe, like, oh, don't be like me, you know, your dad, you know, we're happy. But it's like Melanie's already done her own thing. She's super successful. She has a career.
But I think her parents don't know anything about her because I don't think Mel's let them into her life. But we see at the beginning of the movie, Mel actually gave her parents tickets, like flight tickets to come up and see her. And they also haven't made that a priority to go and see her up in New York to know and understand her life. So
100%.
That is a big misconception as well, that her mom only knows what a man can do for them.
Yeah.
But in reality, you're right. Mel is already successful, but her parents wouldn't know that because they also don't know anything about her life and haven't made that move to go and see her in New York.
And they feel secluded in their ways of they're probably not paying attention to what's happening at Fashion Week in Paris, you know?
No,
like that doesn't
no.
seem like what they're watching.
Yeah, and who knows? They may not even realize how successful of a designer she really is, right? So once she kind of gets down to Alabama, I find she only mentions it once that she's a fashion designer. It's not really a big aspect of her life in Alabama, like at all whatsoever. So I found that a little bit interesting too. It's just kind of, we've forgotten that she's a successful designer in New York. As Mel is walking down the aisle, that man Wallace comes running into the wedding, yelling, "Miss Carmichael, Miss Carmichael." Clearly, we as the audience know that there is a problem with the signed documents for divorce. It turns out that Melanie was the one that never signed the papers, but sent them in anyway. She is still, in fact, married to Jake.
Dun, dun, dun.
She realizes that she doesn't want to get married to Andrew. She tells Andrew that he doesn't want to marry her because she gave her heart away a long time ago and never really got it back. She's still in love with Jake.
That's it? You're just gonna let her humiliate you with some bullshit about an old husband? Yeah.
So Andrew lets her go, but his mother has choice words with both Melanie and her mother, Pearl. So much so that Melanie ends up punching Andrew's mother in the face. And then she yells that she's going to find a groom and that her friends should stick around. Melanie runs to the beach and finds Jake there putting metal poles in to get lightning to strike where they are so that he can probably get more glass. And she says, "You owe me a dance and we're still hitched. And why didn't you ever tell me that you came to New York?" And he says, "I had to make something of myself." And she says, "Are you about done?" This is my weep warning. I just thought the words were so sweet. Then he asks, "Why do you want to be married to me anyhow?" And she says, "So I can kiss you anytime I want."
Oh.
And they kiss. It's so cute. Then they show up at the bar, and their friends and family have thrown them a reception, and it ends with them dancing to Sweet Home Alabama. So cute. I really liked the ending. And you know me, I like good ending that has resolution. And so we see little snapshots during the end credits, and we find out that the glass blowing business is both in Alabama and New York, and that they've moved to New York City. They live in New York City with their little daughter. So cute and sweet and wholesome.
And we've ended happily ever after. And really quick, so one of the funniest sayings, back to Alabama sayings, that happens near the end of this film is the dad when Melanie is kind of conflicted between Andrew or Jake. He says, and I quote, "You can't ride two horses with one butt."
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, that's the silliest saying.
But it's like so true.
So not only did I find, common sayings from the South, I also found just worldly, like, weird sayings that people have. Like, for example, and how about I say it? And you try to figure out either where it's from or what it even means, because some of them are very strange.
All right.
How about this one? "There's no cow on the ice." What does that mean?
It's got to be somewhere northern. There's no cow on the ice?
Yeah.
There's no terrible skater on the ice.
No.
Oh, okay. What does it mean?
It's that. So that's Swedish, and it's a way of saying, like, there's no reason to panic. There's no cow on the ice. Like the cows, they're in the barn. They're fine. They're not on the ice.
Oh, God.
Pulling an old cow out of the ditch. What does that mean, and where's it from?
Picking somebody up when they've fallen.
That poor person. You're describing them as an old cow.
No.
It's bringing up an old argument.
Oh,
Like,
that's smart.
You're pulling an old cow out of the ditch, and that's from Holland.
Oh, my God.
I know.
I'm so bad at these.
Oh, God gives nuts to the man with no teeth. What does that mean?
You're shit out of luck?
Not quite. It's like an isn't it ironic thing, and it's Arabic. It's like God gives nuts to the man with no teeth because he obviously
because he can't eat them.
Chew them.
Yeah. That's funny.
Going where the Tsar goes on foot. What does that mean? And where's it from?
Well, it's Russian.
It's Russian, yeah.
I don't know what it means.
So I guess at one point, the Tsar was carried everywhere except when going to the toilet.
Oh,
that was the only place the Tsar would go on foot. So you're saying you're going to the toilet. Oh, this one's good. Feeding the donkey sponge cake.
Okay. I'm going to say France?
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
That would be describing giving special treatment to someone who doesn't need it because you're feeding the donkey
Something
a sponge
good.
cake. Yeah. And the last one, just because I think I might use this in life, live like a maggot live like a maggot in bacon.
Ew.
What does that mean? Where's it from? Yeah. I know.
That's like living life to the fullest.
Yes, you're right. Or just living in a great state of being.
Because it's like a pig in mud, right?
It's like a pig in shit. Yeah, exactly. And that's German. I guess the Germans, they love their meat. And saying live like a maggot in bacon is like, you're living life, buddy. And now it's time. The Rom-Com Rewind presents the Battle of Rom-Competence. We have Emily Ann on the line. Emily?
Yeah. Hi, it's Emily Ann. How are you?
I'm great. I've got a question. If you're a longtime listener to the pod, you know your friend Devin loves to pull off a horrible French accent.
God.
And I'm noticing the spelling of your name. Would it not be French, Emily?
Well, I guess it is, but it was both of my grandmother's names squished together. So these two strong, vibrant women, neither of them got a middle name to get dropped.
I love that. That's such a pretty combination, though, Emily Ann. I like that.
Yeah,
that is.
So my grandma Ann would call me Emily Ann, and my grandma Emily would call me Emily Ann.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, still trying to get it in there.
So funny.
So tell us about yourself. Who are you? Where are you? Whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Okay. I'm Emily Ann. I'm a lot of fun. I own my own business. I do Facebook and Instagram ads, which is great. We're a military family. I've moved all over. I love it. Right now we're in Utah. I've got 3 boys, so I surround myself with beautiful men.
That's amazing.
And what's let's give your business a name drop. What's it called?
Oh, that's great. It's A Million Clicks. It's a social media boutique, and it's how you would pronounce my name if you saw it in all caps.
Oh,
Oh my God.
You get it?
Cool.
That's very clever. And the most important question we can ask, what is your favorite romantic comedy?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my favorite movie of all time is Practical Magic. And I was I had to tell myself that you didn't grow up listening to this and watching it as an angst teen when you reviewed it, but I still love you guys.
Were we harsh about Practical Magic? I can't remember.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was okay, but it was like, that was my teenage angst ones. Like Mean Girls, I was a full-blown adult with children, so watching that, I didn't really relate to it the same. So I just told myself, I'm like, they're watching this as adults, and I watched it at like 14 and was in love. It made my whole life, you know?
The nostalgia factor is important.
It
when you
is.
go back and watch things that you watched as a kid, it automatically rose-colored glasses. Like, this was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I will say Practical Magic is a cult classic.
It is.
Which I do think we mentioned in that movie. But looking back after having reviewed the movie, I actually really want to watch it this fall again. So I think I might, the tides are turning. I quite like the movie now. So I don't know.
It's a really good movie to have like a great friend that's a female friend that you can relate to or connect to. And not having a sister, I guess I really attached to the whole idea that, that's where that goes.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So the deal with this game, by the way, the Battle of Rom-Competence. By the way, my record is now 3-1. I have sustained 1 loss. Not undefeated anymore. So resoundingly, what we heard from listeners of the podcast, is that quick facts are so much fun, and you want an opportunity to kind of be more a part of the show and maybe test your love for romantic comedies. So that is what we are doing here. Emily Ann, I am about to leave the studio. I'm going to walk away. Sarah will ask you 3 romantic comedy trivia questions. Answer those questions to the best of your ability. I will return to the studio. I'll answer the same questions, and then we will find out if ultimately you are more rom-com than your friend Devin. Does that sound fair?
Okay, that's exciting.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to leave. Goodbye.
Okay, bye, Devin.
Okay, bye.
See you later. He's just leaving, watching him walk out the door. All right. Are you ready for the Battle of Rom-Competence?
Yes, as ready as I'm going to be.
Fantastic. There's 10 seconds on the board, and I will let you know as you're getting closer to 0.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do 3 questions, and we will start with question number 1. Finish the Love Actually quote. To me, you are... ...
Oh my gosh. To me, you are perfect. I don't know this movie very well.
Yes, that is correct. Good job. Okay, question number 2. Which Shakespeare play is 10 Things I Hate About You based on?
Oh my gosh, the Shakespeare play is the...
4 seconds. 1 second.
I don't know.
Okay. No, that's okay. That's okay. You're out of time, but that's okay.
Oh, I have it.
Oh,
Okay, I have those. That's okay.
I don't know if Devin will get that one either, so. Third question. In the movie Legally Blonde, what is the name of Elle's Chihuahua?
Bowser.
So close.
No.
I know, I'm sorry. So close, though. I probably would have guessed Bowser as well. I'll call Devin back
It's
in.
a B name.
Come on in.
How did she do?
She got, well, I'll wait till you put your headphones back on.
Here we go. Okay, I'm here.
She got 1 out of 3.
1 out of 3. Okay, that's not a bad showing.
That's not as awesome as I wanted to be, though.
Well, we'll see how
You know
well
what?
I do, because I might do worse than that.
I was going to say, and very close on this, on one of the questions too. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Let's hear them.
All right. So again, Devin, you have 10 questions on, 10 seconds on the board for
Yep.
3 questions.
Okay, perfect.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. The first question. Finish the Love Actually quote. To me, you are ...
To me, you are everything.
Incorrect.
No.
The word is perfect, and Emily Ann got that one right.
That's when he's holding the
that
stupid
show.
cue cards, right?
Yeah.
Oh God. Man, that's dude from Walking Dead too, right? That's
Is it?
yeah, that's the guy from The Walking Dead.
That guy.
Yeah, it's the guy.
Yeah.
You know, the guy.
That with the face.
Okay.
I can't remember his
What's
name right
question 2? Rick.
All right, question number 2. Which Shakespeare play is 10 Things I Hate About You based on?
Oh, I know this one already.
Okay.
Oh, it's not multiple
It's
choice.
not multiple.
Oh
You
my
have 6
God.
seconds.
It's The Taming of the Shrew.
You are correct.
Dude, there's like 10 romantic comedies based on The Taming of the Shrew. If you don't know the answer, just guess Taming of the Shrew.
I couldn't think of the word shrew. I was just thinking the taming. That's not it. It's some really weird, funky word.
I would have
that's
given you
not a
half
real
points.
word. Oh,
Next time.
Here we go. We're tied up. This is exciting.
All right. Question number 3. In the movie Legally Blonde, what is the name of Elle's Chihuahua?
It's either Bruiser or Brewster. I'm gonna say Bruiser.
It is Bruiser.
Yeah, let's go.
Like I said, Emily Ann, you were very close. She said Bowser.
Bowser.
See,
Yeah.
we all knew kind of the syllables, how it should sound.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a close one.
Oh
for
my
sure.
gosh.
That was you did such a great showing, Emily Ann. That was awesome. And that was so much fun.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for being on the pod, Emily Ann.
this was great. I'm so excited. You made my week. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Quick facts.
The glass featured as Deep South glass is actually hand-blown glass made by Simon Pierce, a Vermont company named after Simon Pierce, who immigrated to the U.S. from Waterford, Ireland. Jake's plane lands on Lake Peachtree in Peachtree City, Georgia. It's illegal to land a plane on Lake Peachtree, and the Peachtree City Police issued the production company a $300 ticket. This was the first film to shoot in New York City after the September 11th, 2001 attack on the World Trade Center. The director said Jake's bloodhound was played by Baron. This dog, I swear to God, he said, would not sit and would not bark. I don't know any dog in the world that doesn't bark. But we couldn't pay this dog enough to do those barks. The barks in the scene were a miracle of production and were probably the only 8 barks the dog ever did. Later, when the dog was lying on the couch, Tennant, the director, said it could barely even do that. Worst actor in the film. Dakota Fanning had her first kiss while making this movie. She was 7 years old. Charlize Theron was originally cast as Melanie Carmichael. Due to the actors' strike, she jumped to a ready-to-go movie, Trapped, in 2002. Reese Witherspoon was cast the same weekend that her previous film, Legally Blonde from 2001, opened. Oak Hill, the real name of the house Melanie pretends belongs to her family, is about 45 minutes from the interstate and difficult to reach. To direct the cast and crew to the site, yellow signs saying SWA with arrows pointing out the correct route were put up. Some Berry College students stole these signs as souvenirs. The Coon Dog Cemetery in the film is a real place in Tuscumbia, Alabama. I don't know if I said that right, and I'm sorry if I didn't. The northern Alabama town is the childhood home of Helen Keller, whose story was told in the movie The Miracle Worker from 1962. Jake's glass blowing shop was filmed in Fayette County, Georgia, at an old mill called Starr's Mill. The exterior was repainted and the porch was rebuilt for the movie. The bridges were later washed away in a flood. In real life, the house Melanie pretends is her home is at Berry College in Mount Berry, Georgia. The house, Oak Hill, is a Georgia historic landmark. It was the original home of Martha Berry, the college founder. The downtown scenes for the movie were filmed in Crawfordville with a population of 572. Seat of, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Tolliver County, the least populated county in Georgia. Two dogs mentioned in the movie, Bear and Bryant, are references to legendary University of Alabama head football coach Paul Bear Bryant. Many Berry College students played extras as attendees in the wedding scene. No short blondes were cast. When Melanie announces her engagement, Earl asks Pearl to pull bologna cake out of the freezer. The cake, a concoction of bologna, cream cheese, and horseradish, was served to a scriptwriter by his fiancée, who was from Indiana. The director, Andy Tennant, says when Melanie reveals to her parents that she's engaged, her dad tells her mom to fetch the leftover bologna cake, something Tennant said his writing partner's wife makes. It's quite a delicacy, he said. If you've never tried it, don't. It's bologna with cream cheese between each layer of bologna. Then you top it off with angel food cake and you put olives on it. It's absolutely disgusting.
It does sound disgusting.
It sounds awful. It sounds so gross. I would not like it. During the filming at Starr's Mill in Fayette County, Georgia, the Starr's Mill High School marching band was asked not to practice outdoors due to the sound carrying all the way to the mill. Melanie's engagement ring is relatively new at the time, Tiffany branded Lucida diamond and mounting. Shortly before he proposes to her, Andrew asks Melanie if she's made up her mind about spending Christmas in Ireland with her, to which she replies that's 4 months away. This would place the events of this film in mid to late August. However, many of the characters in the film are seen wearing jackets and long sleeves, and many of the trees have no leaves. This is inaccurate due to the Alabama setting. At the last second, Reese Witherspoon refuses to sign the divorce papers and calls off her wedding. Before they released the film, the studio screened it for focus groups. Andy Tennant said several male audience members wondered why Patrick Dempsey didn't get the girl when he didn't do anything wrong. Andy Tennant said guys were more upset by it than women. The crew had to transport a water tower to the town in which they shot the film because it didn't have one. Andy Tennant, the director, said, "You always think of water towers as probably the most recognized icon of a small town in America, and this small town didn't have one, so we had to bring one in."
Why wouldn't you just go to another town and film their water tower?
It's a very good question.
Let's bring a whole one over here.
And make it.
Yeah.
Producer Stokely Chaffin developed the film's concept and brought it to the screenwriter C.J. Cox to write. Chaffin, now senior vice president of productions at New Line Cinema, was raised in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Like Reese Witherspoon's character, she changed her name after she left the South. Stokely's her middle name, and during her childhood, friends and family called her by her first name, Caroline. Chaffin insisted that Cox visit Alabama before writing the screenplay. Melanie orders a martini at the Roadhouse, and later you see her eat the olives. Andy Tennant said Witherspoon hated olives so much that she needed a spit bucket for whenever they called cut. He decided to torture her by shooting 15 takes to force her to eat as many olives as possible, rolling longer and longer each take. When Patrick Dempsey pays a visit to Reese Witherspoon's home, her mom says, "If I'd known we'd have company, I would have put on the dog." Tennant explains the phrase was created during the 1800s. It means to splurge. It became fashionable for people to walk a certain type of fancy dog in the streets, calling it putting on the dog. I was wondering that. Candice Bergen's character references that the wedding should be at the plaza in June. It also implied that she plans quite a bit of the wedding in Alabama. She later has a role in the movie Bride Wars as a wedding planner, and the main characters are planning their weddings at the plaza in June. In Barsat, a Bollywood remake of this movie, the gender roles are reversed. Priyanka Chopra Jonas plays Jake Perry's part. During the end credits, it's revealed that Andrew is engaged to a woman named Erin Vanderbilt. Originally, this character appeared in a few scenes in the movie. She worked for Melanie and had a secret crush on Andrew. During test screenings, certain viewers mistakenly assumed that Andrew and Erin were having an affair, and in order to avoid confusion, it was decided that her scenes would be deleted. Though the word is never said, it is heavily suggested that Melanie had a miscarriage at 18 years old when she was pregnant with Jake's baby after high school. When Melanie rolls over and sees that Jake signed the divorce papers, it is open to a page where Melanie's signature is still needed. This is the same page that the lawyer, after interrupting the wedding, says Melanie didn't sign.
Honorable mentions.
Okay, my honorable mention is the supporting cast. I mean, Candice Bergen. I mean, there was a Dakota Fanning was in it. Jean Smart, Melanie Linsky, Ethan Embry. Like, they're big. They've gone on to do some big stuff, all of them. And I don't know why, but at the end of the movie, I was like, oh, I want to know more about them. You know, I want to know more of their lives, or are they still friends with them now? Like, I just wanted to know. I think they did a really good job.
I would like to honorably mention that this is maybe Patrick Dempsey's best romantic comedy role, and it's close though. Because I mean, I would put this one, like I said, like Sweet Home Alabama is a good movie. I enjoyed myself with this. I'd put it ahead of
Can't Buy Me Love.
Yes, absolutely ahead of Can't Buy Me Love. Ahead of
Yes.
Maid of Honor for sure.
Really, you think?
Maybe ahead of Valentine's Day.
Oh, I've only seen Valentine's Day once, and it was a long time ago.
I would say the discussion point is this better than Enchanted in 07? Enchanted, a little bit more of like a Disney rom-com, like a live-action Disney.
They're too different to compare, but...
Right, they're too different.
The difference, Enchanted, he was the lead. This one, I would say he's like the semi-lead. Not really.
The other guy.
Yeah.
And I also appreciate in your quick facts, you said that male audiences were upset because Patrick Dempsey doesn't get the girl. I agree, because he did
nothing wrong.
I do like when you have a romantic comedy that doesn't pit one of the love interests as the immediate villain.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a bad guy. He's making decisions for certain reasons, but you're never like, oh, screw that guy. You're like, maybe he's just not right for her. And that's life. And I appreciate that, because life's like that. Sometimes there are two good options, and one person's your soulmate, and the other person's just a really great person.
Yeah, and you
that's
wish
okay.
them well, and
sorry this didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. I agree.
What should have been?
I think Jake is super successful, and he's done really well for himself over the last 7 years trying to prove himself. But in my mind, when I'm watching the movie and I see this like float plane of like Moe's Fishing, I actually thought that he had done this like outdoorsy wilderness business.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah, and when it came to it and it was a glass blowing, I was like, oh, we totally went a different direction, but not really, because I mean, it's showcased in the very beginning of the movie where the lightning makes glass using the sand, and it makes sense that that's the way that they went. That he'd have this glass blowing business with a restaurant and, you know, a very successful type of business selling glasses all around Alabama and whatnot, and then in New York. But I did think that because of the way the movie showcased this float plane all the time with Moe's Fishing on it, they never explained what Moe was. They never explained what Moe's Fishing was. So I just assumed that at the end of the movie, we'd see this, like he'd bring her via float plane to this wilderness park that he created with like these cabins where he brings people up and that's what he does and whatever. No, totally went a different direction. It just caught me off guard when I was like, oh yeah, he has a glass business. Like, did not see that coming with Moe's Fishing.
Totally. Like the immediate thing I thought of, and actually there's a business here where we live, Sarah. It's like a fly-in fishing company. They've got a few planes exactly like the one in this movie, and they fly people up to these little cabins in like a secluded lake. Mm-hmm. Literally nobody else is on there except you in this cabin. And it's like this beautiful experience. I thought that's where we were going with it. I'm like, oh, it's like a fly-in fishing thing. No, it's glass blowing, which I think is cool.
It is. Totally.
My only what should have been And I actually had a different, you know what, I'll do both because I had a different one walking in here. And then it wasn't until we started talking about the film that I realized we should have had a narrator explain the whole lightning strikes the same place twice.
Yeah.
Because clearly that was the analogy at the beginning of the movie. The kids, like, lightning strikes. Jake says, oh, it doesn't strike the same spot twice. And then it does. And I think that's an analogy for the relationship. They got married. It was lightning striking once, didn't work out, and now they're getting remarried at the end of the movie.
I love that.
I wish a narrator would have explained it because that went over my head, baby.
Well, yeah, and I think too, like a lot of people don't know what lightning makes when it strikes sand, because like it's kind of like Melanie tries to explain that to her friends. Oh yeah, that's what happens when lightning strikes sand. Again, I think that could have been like a little tidbit that the narrator kind of issues at the very beginning.
Sometimes lightning strikes twice. Just explain it to me a little bit. I'm very much one who doesn't like to be over-explained in a movie, but that one I'm like, could you give it to me a little bit clearer? The only other what should have been I had was, do we need some more like Southern romantic comedies? Because when I think of them, there are a few. Hope Floats, Sweet Home Alabama. There are some that are like set in the South, but they don't really explain it. Like I think Dear John is set in the South. We did Love Hard not long ago. That was South. I think that was like Colorado, which I don't even know if that counts. I think like this was kind of a breath of fresh.
Colorado's the West.
It's like the Midwest. Yeah. Not South at all. Yeah, no.
No.
I think we just need more in.
I agree. I think they're very they're very fun to watch, and I think it's very family oriented, and I really like that aspect. And they don't do a lot of rom-coms down there. I think that'd be really cool.
Overall rewatchability.
Okay, so my rewatchability is Chemistry 4, Storyline 4, Thirst Factor 4, lots of 4s, Imagination 4.2, Soundtrack 4, Cheese 3.5 for an overall score of 3.95 out of 4. Out of 5. Sorry.
Wow, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's exactly where I thought you would have it. Like on the cusp or at a 4 is kind of where I thought you'd go. Because I think that's where a lot of people feel it belongs. I've got it just a tiny bit lower. Chemistry, I've got a 4.1. Storyline, a 3.75. Thirst Factor, a 3.8. Who's more gorgeous, by the way? Josh Lucas or Patrick Dempsey?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think Patrick Dempsey, but I really like Josh Lucas's eyes.
Oh, okay.
And he is really good looking. Like that's a hard one. They're both very different looks.
Imagination, a 3.45. This was I had a good story, but a little bit slightly predictable at a few moments. Soundtrack, a 3. We played Sweet Home Alabama minimum 2 times in this.
Yeah, I know. I was expecting it and I liked it.
Which is great. Like, you naming the film Sweet Home Alabama, I'm expecting it at least once, twice. But then, aside from that, there's not really anything that jumps out to me like, oh, that was in this movie. You know what I mean?
They played, they played a few things. I can't remember them now at the top of my head, but...
Memorable.
Yeah.
And cheese. This has got a good cheese for me, 3.8. So I've got an overall score of 3.65 out of 5, which is very, very good. This is a great watch. And this has been the Rom-Com Rewind of Sweet Home Alabama.
Thanks for listening.